Imagine preparing for NEET for years and still not getting an MBBS seat. Not because you didn't study, but because India almost froze the number of medical seats you are allowed. Yes, the National Medical Commission had introduced a rule, population-based cap, that could stop several states from adding new MBBS seats. Meaning, even if India wanted to create more doctors, the law would have said no. But now that the rule has been paused, this one decision quietly announced in Parliament is going to impact every NEET aspirant for the next 2 years. So today, let's decode what the NMC seat cap really was, why the government suddenly deferred it, and what this means for your chances of becoming a doctor. Because, trust me, once you understand the logic behind this rule, your entire perspective on India's MBBS seat crisis will change. Hi everyone, I am Sri Rohit. Welcome to Neo Mentora. On this channel, we don't react to headlines. We decode what policy decisions actually mean for students and parents. Whether you're a NEET aspirant, an MBBS student, or a parent trying to understand medical education maze, this video is important for you because today we are breaking down a quiet but powerful NMC decision that could shape NMC seat availability and competition for the next 2 years. What exactly was the NMC seat cap rule? First, let's understand what NMC was actually planning, because most headlines miss the point. The National Medical Commission proposed a rule called population-based seat cap. Simply put, it said this: a state can have a fixed number of MBBS seats per population. If a state already have enough doctors per lakh population, no new seats or MBBS colleges will be allowed, even if demand is exploding. This rule was meant to fix doctor distribution because today India has doctor surplus in cities and doctor scarcity in rural districts. Sounds logical, right? But here's the problem. India is producing more NEET aspirants than seats, not because students increased overnight, but because medical seats didn't grow fast enough for decades. And just when states were finally expanding MBBS seats aggressively, this cap was announced. So naturally, states pushed back, private colleges panicked, and students were left confused. And now comes the big update. Why did NMC suddenly hit pause on the seat cap rule? Officially, the Health Minister of India told Parliament that the rule is deferred for 2 academic years. But unofficially, the pressure was massive. Here's what happened behind the scenes. First, states pushed back hard. Many states said, "You are asking us to increase doctors, but blocking us from increasing medical colleges." That contradiction was impossible to defend. Second, NEET numbers exploded. 24 lakh aspirants. Parents were already angry. Coaching centers were loud. Courts were watching. Freezing seats at this moment would have looked like policy suicide. And third, the data problem. NMC realized something uncomfortable. Population based caps don't reflect reality. One district may have doctors on paper, but no doctors in government hospitals. Another state may have medical colleges, but zero specialties in rural areas. So capping seats without fixing distribution would only make the shortage worse. That's why NMC stepped back, and not because the idea was wrong, but because the timing was dangerous. But now comes the most important question for you. So what does this decision actually mean for NEET aspirants? Let's break it into short term and long term, because that's where most confusion happens. Short term relief. The secret cap is deferred, which means no sudden freezing of MBBS seats. New colleges can still come up, existing colleges can increase seats. For students writing NEET in 2024 and 2025 and 2026, this decision prevents the situation from becoming even worse. Simple words, the door hasn't closed yet, but don't misunderstand this as good news. Coming to long term, the crisis remain because deferring a rule is not the same as solving a problem. Even today, 24 lakh students fight for about 1.09 lakh MBBS students. That ratio is still brutal. And remember, this rule is not cancelled, it's only postponed, which means NMC will bring it back once the pressure cools down. So, if you're thinking, "I will wait, things will become easier," that's the most dangerous assumption. Competition won't reduce, cutoffs won't fall magically, and government seats will still remain scarce. Decision doesn't change the battlefield. It only delays the next shock. And that brings us to the bigger picture no one is talking about. Here's the uncomfortable truth. India's MBBS problem is not about seat caps. It's about demand versus access. Even without the population-based cap, India simply doesn't have enough affordable government medical seats for the number of students it produces every year. Private colleges exist, yes, but when One MBBS seat cost 1 to 1.3 crore. That's not an option. That's an exclusion. So what happens? Middle class students get squeezed, merit students get pushed out, and depression fills the gap. And whenever depression grows, fake consultants appear, shady colleges enter, and unsafe shortcuts look tempting. This is why every policy delay creates confusion, not comfort. Because the system keeps sending mixed signals. Prepare hard, but seats are limited. More colleges coming, but affordability is shrinking. And unless students understand this reality clearly, they don't plan, they panic. So, what you should take away from this? First, don't assume policy delays means opportunity. They mean uncertainty. Second, don't bet your future on one outcome. NEET ranks, counseling rounds, cut-offs, everything is volatile. And third, planning early is no longer optional. Whether it's understanding realistic seat chances, evaluating safe alternatives, or avoiding emotional decisions under pressure, clarity is no longer a luxury. It's survival. This channel exists for one reason: to help students and parents see the system as it is, not as it's advertised. So, if this video helped you understand the reality behind the headlines, stay connected because subscribing is free for you. But for thousands of students watching silently, it keeps real, honest guidance alive. Stay aware, stay prepared, and remember, awareness isn't fear, it's protection. Jai Hind.